Hi, my name is Steve Houston. I'm Ricky's audience and the cameraman.
Good evening. I'm Richard Lloreda, Ricky. Com.03. I'm holding up a $500 check given to me through hard sweat, blood, and tears from UCLA Extension in a class that I felt they needed to pay me back for in my feeling that and substantiating my ADHD. I had draining and gradage as one of my engineering classes for being a landscape architect, this side, and they made no provision for me to take the class. In all fairness, I didn't even know I had ADHD until I failed a midterm, went online afterwards and typed in dyslexia, found out other terms. Mine was dyscalculia, which is a problem in cognitive reasoning, mathematics, science, and grammatical method. With simple behavior modification and allowances made, I can now take mathematics classes, scored the highest score I ever scored in a science class in college, B+, and can understand grammatical method, which I did very well when I had my foreign language classes at my college levels. However, without accommodation, a great deal of stress and anxiety gets put into the mix, and I can't cognitively reason. So my speech is about the need for testing school children for ADHD ages 5 to 17. When it's determined that the child has ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, modification can be made to help the child to get a richer school experience and prepare him for adult life with stronger self-esteem. Did you ever have difficulty or knew anyone that had difficulty, unseemly difficulty, figuring out time or percents or simple mathematical equations, and then wondered how come they can balance a checkbook but they can't add 1 and 1 as easily as this person does? Did you ever meet anyone who couldn't tell you what a noun or an adjective was, but could write wonderful stories, grammatically correct almost 90% of the time? Well, that person very may have well had ADHD. Did you ever see someone who could create recipes and build buildings and understand how plants grow, but when you hit them with the scientific method, it escapes them? Once again, ADHD. For what doesn't get given to the child can often be balanced by imagination, discipline, and different methods of coming to the same conclusion. That's all fine and well for the child to find it out on himself, but unfortunately it's made much more difficult when teachers cannot help the child realize this potential and when society mars him as a discontent. Without testing for ADHD can lead to unnecessary trauma both in childhood and adulthood. It can also foster a feeling of worthlessness and keep a child at a poverty level when he grows into an adult. I have charts here, 3 of them, from the Center of Disease Control that charts ADHD findings. 3 out of 5 boys have it who are white and at the poverty level. It seems to be at the highest level in males who are white and who remain at these levels. Not so much in girls. However, they have found that around 2 million school children have ADHD. Allow me to show you the first chart. This is the first chart, and it will show you a steady rise from the late 90s to the mid-2000s of males school age 5 to 17 with ADHD, again from the Center of Disease Control. Secondly, I would like to show you from the same resource the percentage of school-age children 5 to 17 years old from 1998 to the middle 2000s of how it's on the rise. And lastly, I'd like to show you how in the Center of Disease Control, white males seem to suffer from this disorder more than any other group of race and is kept at a poverty level. Coming from a family that has ADHD in its hereditarical bloodline, I can tell you, it's very interesting when you find out there is a chain of generational people in your life that have ADHD. And this is beneficial for anyone who is pregnant to know how to look for the signs in their child. This study was held by the National Institute of Mental Health. They were the ones that found 2 million students had ADHD, 3 out of 5 boys. ADHD is Just Not for Kids by Patricia Clarkson for the Special Services USDA Department. She found that of these findings, there was definite behavior modification available and drugs to help the student get through the experience of ADHD better. My own UCLA experience, after a 9-month battle, I was finally able to sit down with one of the upper executive levels, although not the president, and convince him of my disability. I got my $500 back, although not reimbursement for all the gas money and the materials and the time I spent in this class, but there was a certain satisfaction of A, finding out I have the disability, and B, being able to fight my own case without having to take it to court. Unfortunately, I would have really liked to have known I had ADHD about 30 years earlier. However, as I said, hope lies in testing. When you are tested yearly and finding out what areas you can cognitively reason easier and faster, there is a better chance that you will understand these subjects and thrive. That again is from the Center for Disease Control. Testing can not only improve the child's life, he can have a richer learning experience, and as he grows up into an adult, have better self-esteem, and therefore society will have a better society from this. Remember, there is medication available, there is behavioral therapy, there are educational aids. All one simply has to do is talk to their care provider and figure out how to go about structuring such a program for the child. I would have to say, in conclusion, you do not have to endure the frustration of not being able to cognitively reason, not if you have testing that is done yearly when you are a child. This is an investment in society. If you want to invest in a better society, you invest in yourself, you invest in your children, and you pass it on. So I hope you've enjoyed my talk on ADHD. More references and resources are listed in my speech. Good night.